Okay, so great evening, guys. Thank you so very much for joining us again on another exciting Upgrade Mastery Just for You. Yes, this is the Upgrade Mastery Just for You. And like you know, we do this every Friday. It's basically from 7 p.m. through to 8 p.m. And we basically just get to share our experiences from the week, the learnings we've had, the challenges we've faced, how we've been able to overcome them, and how to look forward to the new week as we plan ahead for the new week. So, this is the Upgrade Mastery Just for You. And like you know, we do this every Fridays, basically just to let down our hair from all the activities of the week, all the things we've faced, the successes we've had, the challenges, and even the difficulties, and even the things that made us wish like, oh, what a week it has been. Is all over now. This is the weekend coming, and this is the time for us to just unwind, relax, and let down our hair and just get to share the things that we have learned during this week. So for me, my week has been quite interesting, has been quite eventful, full of activities, full of mental work because I get to do a lot of mental work. And I've been able to achieve some of the tasks I hope to achieve for the week, right? I wanted to design some slides and get some training materials ready, and I was able to do them. Quite demanding, quite tasking, but I was able to achieve that goal that I set out to achieve, right? And yes, it is an amazing week for me. It was a fulfilling week for me, but it's not about me, it's about you. That's why it's called Upgrade Mastery Just for You. So, how was your week? What did you do this week? What stood out for you? What were the lessons you got from the week? And what were the things that you know, okay, I couldn't achieve this week, but I'm going to do better next week, right? Because I always believe that there's always something to learn from your week, right? You may not have achieved all your goals you set out to achieve, may not have crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's, but there are some things you probably achieved during the week, and is what taking note of and celebrating, right? We must learn to celebrate our little wins while we look forward to the big wins, right? The little wins tells you that yes, you are making progress. The little wins tells you that, oh, you're achieving what you hope to achieve, right? So you must be mindful of it and be grateful for it, right? So that's why we get to do this, so that we just look back and say, oh, we're grateful for the week, we're grateful for what you've achieved, we're grateful for the things that we're able to do, and we're looking forward to an amazing week. So how was your week, basically? Hope you had the things that you wanted to do. And even if you couldn't, the week is over now. You're looking forward to next week and how you can do better in the other week, right? Okay, so on the Upgrade Mastery Just for You, we are still on our series and we'll be wrapping up that series very soon. In the meantime, I'd like you to do well to just share this link with your friends, your families, your loved ones, and even your enemies so that they can be part of the conversation, so that we can have this together while it's live. I know a lot of people get to watch the replay, no doubt, but beyond watching the replay, why it's happening live is even more interesting. So you can ask your questions and you can contribute, and you can also get to network with other people who join the live while it is live, right? So do well to help share the link with your friends, your families, your loved ones, and even your enemies, right? But for today, we're going to continue our series, which is currently on episode 7. As last week, we discussed on episode 7. Now, this week, we are going to episode 8. And like I said, we have just 2 more episodes left, episode 9 and episode 10. I would have covered the series Genesis. No, towards the end of last year, we said we're going to begin a series called Genesis. And that's the series we've been on since January. So from January first week till now, we've been on the study of the book of Genesis. And it has been our series. So we've been taking 5 chapters every week to be able to cover the whole book of Genesis, which is for 50 chapters. So we are currently at episode 8, which we'll be taking today. I'll be looking at interesting conversations from Genesis 36 to Genesis 40, right? That's episode 8. So those are the areas we're going to cover today. So many talking points, so many lessons. That's where we are today on episode 8. So in case you missed out on any of the episodes on the series, you can always go back and watch the previous episode from episode 1 to episode 7, because this is episode 8, right? So If you're ready for us to begin, I want you to type in the comments ready so that we can start off this conversation in earnest so that we can make progress on what we're going to be talking about today. There's a lot to cover in every episode because, we get to take 5 chapters, and in every of those chapters, we get to bring out 3 lessons that we'll share, right? It may be more than 3 lessons, but we'll just try to concise it to 3 lessons so we can be able to cover as much talking points as possible so that you too can also share your lessons or your observations from that particular chapter, right? So we are all learning from each other. So today we're going to continue from where we left off. This time we're going to start off from Genesis 36 and we're going to go to Genesis 40. Those are the 5 chapters we're going to be taking today from Genesis 36 all through Genesis 40. So, and like we get to read the chapter and then take the lessons and then discuss about it and see how it applies to our lives today. Because one of the things that we're getting from this series, Genesis, is how it applies to us today. I keep saying this all the time, that the Bible is not a religious book. It's a manual for living, right? So it's the manual that gives you instructions, the manual that gives you a guide, it's a manual that shows you principles, the manual that gives you counsel. So it's not a religious book, as people think it is, but it's a manual for living. There's so many life principles, business lessons, entrepreneurship lessons, so many lessons you can glean from the Bible, right? And that's why we are taking this series on Genesis, showing so many things to learn from this and how they apply to our very existence today, right? So now let's begin Genesis chapter 36 for episode 8 on Genesis, the series, right? And if this is your first time for joining us, please also let us know that this is your first time, and also let us know where you're watching us from so we can appreciate you for joining the Upgrade Mastery Just for You that we get to do every Fridays from 7 p.m. through to 8 p.m. So let's get into Genesis 36 while we read, and then we would begin the conversation. Okay, so Genesis 36. Now, it said, this is the account of the descendants of Esau, who also known as Edom. Esau married 2 young women from Canaan, Ada, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna and granddaughter of Zibeon the Hivite. He also married his cousin Basemath, who was the daughter of Ishmael and the sister of Nebaioth. Ada gave birth to a son named Eliphaz for Esau. Basemath gave birth to a son named Reuel. Oholibamah gave birth to sons named Joash, Jalam, and Korah. All these sons were born to Esau in the land of Canaan. Esau took his wives, his children, and his entire household, along with livestock and cattle, all the wealth he had acquired in the land of Canaan, and moved away from his brother Jacob. There was not enough land to support both of them because of all their livestock and possessions they had acquired. So Esau, also known as Edom, settled in the hill country of Seir. This is the account of Esau's descendants, the Edomites, who live in the country of Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Esau's wife Ada, and Reuel, the son of Esau's wife Basemath. The descendants of Eliphaz were Teman, Omnan, Zophah, Gatam, and Genaz. Timnah, the concubine of Esau's son Eliphaz, gave birth to a son named Amalek. These are descendants of Esau's wife Ada. Descendants of Reuel were Nahat, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These are descendants of Esau's wife Basemath. Esau had sons through Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna and granddaughter of Zibeon. Their names were Joash, Shalom, and Korah. These are descendants of Esau who became the leader of various clans. Descendants of Esau's oldest son Eliphaz became the leaders of the clans of Tamnah, Omar, Zophah, Kenaz, Korah, Gatam, and Amalek. These are the clan leaders in the land of Edom who descended from Eliphaz. All these were descendants of Esau's wife Ada. Descendants of Esau's son Reuel became the leader of the clans of Nahat, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These are the clan leaders in the land of Edom who descended from Reuel. All these were descendants of Esau's wife Basemath. Descendants of Esau and his wife Oholibamah became the leaders of clans of Jeush, Shalom, and Korah. These are the clan leaders who descended from Esau's wife Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna. These are the clan descended from Esau, also known as Edom, identified by their clan leaders. These are the names of the tribes that descended from Seir the Horite. They lived in the land of Edom: Lotan, Shobal, Zion, Anna, Dishon, Eser, and Dishan. These were the Horites' clan leaders, descendants of Seir, who lived in the land of Edom. The descendants of Lotan were Hori and Haman. Lotan's sister was named Timnah. Descendants of Shoa were Avan, Manat, Abba, Shobo, and Amma. Descendants of Zibeon were Ayan, Anna. These are Anna, who discovered the hot spring in the wilderness while he was grazing his father's donkey. The descendants of Anna were his son, Dishon, and his daughter, Ohibama. The descendants of Dishon were Hedman, Eshban, Itran, and Keran. The descendants of Ezer were Biha, Zivan, and Akan. The descendants of Dishan were Uz and Aran. These were the leaders of the Horite clans: Lotan, Shobal, Zebul, Anna, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. The Horite clans are named after their clan leaders who lived in the land of Seir. These are the kings who ruled the land of Edom before any king ruled over the Israelites. Bela, son of Beor, who ruled in Edom from his city in Dinhabah. When Bela died, Jobab's son of Zerah from Bosra, became king in his place. When Jobab died, Ushman from the land of Temanites became the king in his place. When Ushman died, Hadad, son of Bedad, became king in his place and ruled in the city of Evite. He was the one who defeated the Midianites in the land of Moab. When Hadad died, Shamlat from the city of Masrakeh became king in his place. When Shamlat died, Shaul from the city of Rehoboth of the river became king in his place. When Shaul died, Baal-Hanan, son of Akbor, became king in his place. When Baal-Hanan, son of Akbor, died, Hadad became king in his place and ruled from the city of Pur. His wife was Mehitebel, the daughter of Metra and granddaughter of Mizanab. These are the names of the leaders of the clans descended from Esau, who lived in the palaces named for them: Timnah, Abba, Jethra, Ohibama, Ela, Pinon, Kenaz, Taman, Ibzba, Megdel, and Iram. These are the leaders of the clan of Edom, listed according to their settlements in the land they occupied. They all descended from Esau, the ancestor of the Edomites. Now, 3 simple lessons that I picked out from this chapter 36. Now, chapter 36 was quite interesting in the sense that it was just giving the genealogy and history of Esau's sons, his kids, what they did, and all of that. But this is the part that I really want you to understand from chapter 36. It was at the very beginning. That was where the main part was that I really want you to pay attention to, right? The first part was 1, be careful where and who you marry. Now, remember that Isaac, Esau's father, and Rebekah never wanted Esau to marry from the Canaanites. That's why they told Jacob to go and marry from Laban's side, right? But Esau, because of his distaste for covenant, he really did not bother. He married anywhere. I could see that it was in Esau's descendants, the people of Amalek came about. And that was the Amalek that would later get to trouble the Israelites. Are you getting this? Remember when God told Saul to utterly destroy the Amalekites? Now, that was in response to what the Amalekites had done to the Israelites while the Israelites were leaving Egypt. Remember, I tell you that God does not used to forget. Leave vengeance for God. Leave keeping scores for God. God knows how to deal with people. But you could see that it was Amalek that came out from Esau's lineage. Are you getting this? So understand this. If Esau had just done the right thing, married right, married from the right place, his descendants will not be the one who's troubling Israel eventually. Esau married anywhere. He married from Canaanites. He married from Ishmael. He just kept marrying all around. He just kept marrying all around. So one of the lessons to learn from this is this: be careful where and who you marry. Trust me, it would affect the entirety of your life moving forward. You may not realize it on inception, but over time you get to realize this. Be careful who and where you marry. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? So we could see the people Esau married at the end of the day from Esau's own clan became people who troubled the Israelites, which were Amalek, which were Edom. Are you getting it? So from Esau, they became people who became enemies of Israel. If only Esau had just married right. Are you getting this? Does this make sense to you? Great. Second lesson to learn from chapter 36 is separation can be peaceful. Esau and Jacob needed to separate because the land was not big enough to occupy all their cattle, all their possessions, all their families, and all of that. So they separated amicably. They separated peacefully, which also lets you know that you can separate from people peacefully. You don't have to cause a quarrel. You don't have to do it in a way that it is you're burning bridges or any of those things. You can separate peacefully from people, right? You are no longer on the same journey. You're no longer on the same path. Everybody go their different ways. No hard feelings, no lost love. We can separate peacefully. Are you getting this? So you must learn this, that you can separate from people peacefully. Esau and Jacob separated peacefully. No bad blood, no bickering, nothing. They just separated peacefully. Are you getting this? So this is an important lesson to learn. You don't have to burn bridges. You can separate peacefully. Are you getting this? Does this make sense? Great. Now, the third lesson to learn from chapter 36 is that you will be great and also you can cause great problems. Yes, Esau was great, no doubt. But Esau also caused great problems for Israel because it was Esau's descendants that were dealing with Israel's descendants later down the line. So you can be great, but you can also cause great problems. So you must be mindful that you don't become great and then cause great problems. Because Esau, his descendants, became the Amalekites. I know how the Amalekites dealt with the Israelites. Are you getting this? So you can be great and can also cause great problems. So you have to be mindful of that so that your greatness now don't cause great problems in the future. Because while Esau was just giving birth and marrying up and down, he didn't know that from his lineage will come the Amalekites, which will be Amalek, which will eventually become enemy of Israel, the descendants of Israel. Are you getting this? Does this make sense? Okay, great. So let's move on to chapter 37, where we'll continue our series for today. Now, we looked at chapter 36, and we'll share 3 lessons of chapter 36, which is number 1, be careful where and who you marry. Number 2, we said separation can be peaceful. And number 3, we said you may be great and you can also cause great problems. So let's get into Genesis chapter 37, which is a very key story that I want us to get into because there's something there that I want us to see and I want us to remember. Okay, so Genesis chapter 37. So Jacob settled again in the land of Canaan, where his father had lived as a foreigner. This is the account of Jacob and his family. When Joseph was 17 years old, he often tended his father's flock. He worked for his half-brothers, the sons of his father's wife, Bilhah and Zilpah. But Joseph reported to his father some of the bad things his brothers were doing. Jacob loved Joseph more than any other of his children because Joseph had been born to him in his old age. So one day, Jacob made a special gift for Joseph, a beautiful robe, the robe of many colors. But his brothers hated Joseph because their father loved him more than the rest of them. They couldn't say a kind word to him. One night, Joseph had a dream, and when he told his brothers about it, they hated him more than ever. Listen to this dream, he said. We're all out in the field, tying up bundles of grain. Suddenly, my bundles stood up, and your bundles all gathered around and bowed before mine. His brothers responded, so you think you will be our king, do you? Do you actually think you would reign over us? And they hated him all the more because of his dreams and the way he talked about them. So Joseph had another dream, and again, he told his brothers about it. Listen, I've had another dream, he said. The sun, the moon, and 11 stars, they bowed low before me. This time, he told the dream to his father as well as his brothers. But his father scolded him. What kind of dream is that? He asked. Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow to the ground before you? But while his brothers were jealous of Joseph, his father wondered what the dreams meant. Soon after, Joseph's brothers went to pasture their father's flock at Shechem. When they had gone for some time, Jacob said to Joseph, your brothers are pasturing the sheep at Shechem. Get ready, I will send you to them. I'm ready to go, Joseph replied. Go and see how your brothers and the flocks are getting along, Jacob said. Then come back and bring me a report. So Jacob sent him on his way, and Joseph traveled to Shechem from their home in the valley of Hebron. When he arrived there, a man from the area noticed him wandering around the countryside. What are you looking for? He said. I'm looking for my brothers, Joseph replied. Do you know where they are pasturing their sheep? Yes, the man told him. They have moved on from here, but I heard them say, let us go to Dothan. So Joseph followed his brothers to Dothan and found them there. When Joseph's brothers saw him coming, they recognized him from a distance. As he approached, they made plans to kill him. Here comes the dreamer, they said. Come, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns. We can tell our father a wild animal had eaten him. Then we will see what will become of his dreams. But when Reuben heard of their scheme, he came to Joseph's rescue. Let's not kill him, he said. Why should we shed any blood? Let's throw him into this empty cistern here in the wilderness. Then he will die without our laying a hand on him. Reuben was secretly planning to rescue Joseph and return him to his father. So when Jacob arrived, the brothers ripped off the beautiful robe he was wearing. Then they grabbed him and threw him into the cistern. Now the cistern was empty. There was no water in it. Then, just as they were sitting down to eat, they looked up and saw a caravan of camels in the distance coming towards them. It was a group of Ishmaelite traders taking a load of gum, balm, and aromatic resin from Gilead down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, What will we gain by killing our brother? We'll have to cover up the crime. Instead of hurting him, let's tell him to those Ishmaelite traders. After all, he's our brother, our own flesh and blood. And his brothers agreed. So when the Ishmaelites who were Midianite traders came by, Joseph's brothers pulled him out of the cistern and sold him for 20 pieces of silver, and the traders took him to Egypt. Sometime later, Reuben returned to get Joseph out of the cistern. When he discovered that Joseph was missing, he tore his clothes in grief. Then he went back to his brothers and lamented, the boy is gone. What will I do now? Then the brothers killed a goat and dipped Joseph's robe in his blood. Then sent the beautiful robe to their father with this message, look at what we found. Doesn't this robe belong to your son? Their father recognized it immediately. Yes, he said, it's my son's robe. A wild animal must have eaten him. Joseph has clearly been torn to pieces. Then Jacob tore his clothes and dressed himself in burlap. He mourned deeply for his son for a long time. His family tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. I will go to my grave mourning for my son, he would say, and then he would weep. Meanwhile, the Midianite traders arrived in Egypt, where they sold Joseph to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Potiphar was captain of the palace guard. Now, this is chapter 37. Great. Chapter 37. Now, This is chapter 37. Now, there are 3 lessons I want us to learn from chapter 37 that I'm going to share with us, right? 3 simple lessons. Number 1, conditional love can produce conditional hate. Now, you saw what happened. Jacob loved Joseph more than his other sons or his other children. Now, that was because Joseph would report their evil deeds to him, right? Because of that, Jacob made a robe of many colors for Joseph. Now, Joseph earned his father's love. 1, he was the son from his old age. 2, he will report the evil deeds of his brothers to his father. Right? So those were conditions that made Jacob love Joseph. Are you getting this? So it was a conditional love. Now that conditional love now produced conditional hate from the brothers. So they hated Joseph simply because their father loved Joseph. So they felt they didn't get the love they needed because their father was putting all the love on Joseph. Good lesson to learn from this. Conditional love can produce conditional hate. Because Joseph's father, Jacob, loved Joseph, because Joseph was the son of his old age, because Joseph was the one that would report the evil deeds of his brothers to the father, because Jacob made a robe of many colors for Joseph, Joseph's brother hated Joseph. So you see, the conditional love that Jacob had for Joseph produced conditional hate from Joseph's brothers. That's number 1. Remember, I've told us before, anytime love becomes conditional, it is not true love. Anytime it's conditional, it's not true love. But Jacob had a conditional love for Joseph, because they said it was because he was the son of his old age. It was because he would report the evil deeds of the brothers to the father. So based on this, the father loved him, made him a robe of many colors, and based on this, the brothers hated Joseph. So the condition that made the father love Joseph was still the same reason, the condition that made the brothers hate Joseph. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? Great. Now, the second lesson to learn from chapter 37 is this. Talk about your dreams. Yes, I know people will say, oh, don't talk about your dreams, so that when people hear now, you don't know who will try to make sure that it doesn't come through and all of that. See these guys. Joseph did the right thing by talking about his dreams. Now, if he did not talk about his dreams, they probably would not hate him as much as they did. Because see, anytime he told them his dream, they would hate him even more. Right? And you see what they said about him. When they saw him from afar, they said, let us kill him and see what will become of his dream. So they not only hated Joseph, they hated the fact that Joseph had dreams. Let me tell you this, guys. So dream is free. Nobody pays for a dream. So dream is free. Anybody can have a dream. So why would people hate you because of your dream? Simply because you talk about it. So talk about your dream. They had no idea that because they hated Joseph for his dream, selling Joseph was actually pushing him into the direction of that dream. So imagine if Joseph had kept quiet. He would have died of hunger by the time the famine started much, much later. He would have still been by his father's side because his father would not have let him go. But he would not have become who he became. So you see, in your journey through life, talk about your dreams. No matter how big or audacious they may be, talk about it. Because you have no idea who will be pushing you towards the dream because they've heard you talk about it. Are you getting this? So talk about your dreams. Talk about it on your status. Talk about it on your post. Talk about it on your life. Talk about your dreams. Don't keep quiet about your dreams. Let people hate you because of your dream. It's your dream. And besides, your dream is not for you. Yes, your dream is not for you. All the dreams that Joseph had, they were not for Joseph. Your dream is not for you. Talk about your dreams. Let people know the dreams you have. And besides, to dream is free. Even scripture says, young men will see visions. The old men will dream dreams. So dream is free. Second lesson, talk about your dreams. Yes, talk about it. Don't be quiet about your dreams. Put it on your story. Put it on your status. Put it on as your wallpaper. Put it as your DP. talk about your dreams. Are you getting this? You have no idea who will be helping you move towards those dreams simply because they heard you talk about it. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? Third lesson to learn from Genesis 37 is the strategy of God. Now, there's something that many people did not pay attention to in Genesis 37. Notice how the brothers, they switched from let us kill him to let us sell him. Remember, they saw him from afar, they said, let us kill him and see what will become of his dream. Among themselves, someone says, no, let's not kill him. Let's put him in the pit. Among themselves, somebody said, okay, the Ishmaelite traders are coming. Instead of us killing him, let's now sell him. This is the strategy of God. Because at that point, Joseph didn't have anybody who come to his rescue. Even though Reuben had said, oh, if they put him in the pit, he will come back and come and take Joseph and return Joseph to his father. But even at that, that was still the strategy of God to ensure that Joseph be on the path towards the fulfillment of the dream. Because there was no way the dream would have been fulfilled if Joseph was in his father's house. And besides, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars, we're not talking about Jacob and his wife. The sun and the moon were the gods of the Egyptians. But they didn't even understand the dream. And another thing that I didn't pick out as a lesson is the fact that how did Jacob fall off? That he could not even discern. This was the same Jacob that was having an encounter with God. This was the same Jacob that God would speak to in a dream. How come Jacob would not discern what Joseph's dream meant? How come Jacob did not go back to God to ask, my son is having dreams. What do these dreams mean? How did Jacob fall off to that point? He had no clue spiritually what was happening. How? What happened to Jacob? That's a very subtle lesson that we need to look at. What happened to Jacob? He had no clue what Joseph's dreams meant. He had no clue on how to raise his sons, because the things that made the brothers hate Joseph was what Jacob did for Joseph. Made him a coat of many colors. They hated him for that. Those were Jacob's own doing that brought the hatred of his brothers on him. So how did Jacob fall off? That he did not raise his sons right, and he did not discern what Joseph's dream meant. But it's also part of the strategy of God. Because perhaps if he had discerned it, he probably would have been more protective of Joseph. So I need you to understand this. God has strategies that may not make sense to you. And that's why I keep saying that God is the master strategist that orchestrates everything to work together for your good. He's the one that orchestrates everything to work together for your good. So the third lesson to learn from Genesis chapter 37 is this, the strategy of God. So God made the brothers move from let's kill him to let's sell him. Are you getting this? So 3 lessons to learn from Genesis 37. Number 1, conditional love can produce conditional hate. Number 2, talk about your dreams. And number 3, the strategy of God. Now let's go to Genesis 38, right? Let's see Genesis 38 and see what it has to offer to us. Now, about this time, Judah left home and moved to Adullam, where he stayed with a man named Hira. There he saw a Canaanite woman, the daughter of Shur, and he married her. When he slept with her, she became pregnant and gave birth to a son, and he named the boy Er. Then she became pregnant again and gave birth to another son, and she named him Onan. And when she gave birth to a third son, she named him Shelah. At the time of Shelah's birth, they were living at Gesim. In the course of time, Judah arranged for his first son, Er, to marry a young woman named Tamar. But Er was a wicked man in the Lord's sight, so the Lord took his life. Then Judah said to Er's brother Onan, "Go and marry Tamar, as our law requires of the brother of a man who has died. You must produce an heir for your brother." But Onan was not willing to have a child who would not be his own heir. So whenever he had intercourse with his brother's wife, he spilled the semen on the ground. This prevented her from having a child who would belong to his brother. But the Lord considered it evil for Onan to deny a child to his dead brother. So the Lord took Onan's life too. Then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, "Go back to your parents' home and remain a widow until my son Shelah is old enough to marry you." But Judah didn't really intend to do this because he was afraid Shelah would also die like his two brothers. So Tamar went back to live in her father's home. Some years later, Judah's wife died. After the time of mourning was over, Judah and his friend Hira, the Adumlite, went to Timnah to supervise the shearing of a sheep. Someone told Tamar, "Look, your father-in-law is going to Timnah to shear his sheep." Tamar was aware that Shelah had grown up, but no arrangement had been made for her to come and marry him. So she changed out of her widow's clothing and covered herself with a veil to disguise herself. Then she sat beside the road at the entrance of the village of Enim, which is on the road to Timnah. Judah noticed her and thought she was a prostitute since she had covered her face. So he stopped and propositioned her. "Let me have sex with you," he said, not realizing that she was his own daughter-in-law. "How much do you pay to have sex with me?" Tamar asked. "I will send you a young goat for my flock," Judah promised. "But you will give me a guarantee that you will send me the goat." "What kind of guarantee do you want?" he replied. She answered, "Leave me your identification seal and its cord and the walking stick you are carrying." So Judah gave them to her. Then he had intercourse with her and she became pregnant. Afterwards, she went back home, took off her veil, and put on her widow's clothing as usual. Later, Judah asked his friend Hira the Abdulite to take the young goat to the woman and to pick up the things he had given to her as a guarantee. But Hira couldn't find her. So he asked the men who lived there, "Where can I find the shrine prostitute who was sitting beside the road at the entrance of Enya?" "We have never had a shrine prostitute here," they replied. So Hira returned to Judah and told him, "I couldn't find her anywhere, and the men of the village claimed they have never had a shrine prostitute there." "Then let her keep the things I gave her," Judah said. "I sent the young goat as we agreed, but you couldn't find her. Would it be the laughing stock of the village if we went back again to look for her?" About 3 months later, Judah was told, "Tamar, your daughter-in-law, had acted like a prostitute, and now, because of this, she is pregnant. Bring her out and let her be burned," Judah demanded. But as they were taking her out to kill her, she sent this message to her father-in-law: "The man who owns these things made me pregnant. Look closely. Those whose seal and cord and walking stick are these." Judah recognized them immediately and said, "She is more righteous than I am, because I didn't arrange for her to marry my son Shelah." And Judah never slept with Tamar again. When the time came for Tamar to give birth, it was discovered that she was carrying twins. While she was in labor, one of the babies reached out his hand. The midwife grabbed it and tied it with scarlet string around the child's wrist, announcing, "This one came out first." But then he put back his hand, and out came his brother. "What?" the midwife exclaimed. "How did you break out first?" So he was named Perez. Then the baby with the scarlet string on his wrist was born, and he was named Zerah. And this is chapter 38 of Genesis. Chapter 38 of Genesis. Okay, so now this is it. 3 lessons to learn from chapter 38 of Genesis. Now, number 1, very important lesson: the Lord punishes evil. So you see, 2 of Judah's sons, Er and Onan, who should have been with Tamar and ensured that she had children for their dead brother, they refused. And because of that, the Lord killed them. So you see, from this, you could see that the Lord punishes evil. So anyone who does evil, relax. God has a way of dealing with them. You don't have to look for vengeance. You don't have to try to deal with them yourself. God has a way of dealing with them. The Lord punishes evil. He still punishes evil. Er did it, got punished for it. Onan did it, he got punished for it. Scripture says it was the Lord who took their life. Literally. Because of the evil that they did by refusing to give their dead brother a son when they were sleeping with the wife, as their custom demands, the Lord took their life. Simple lesson, clean and clear. The Lord still punishes evil. Lesson number 2, have guarantees. I see when Judah was going to sleep with Tamar, she asked for guarantee. Now, since you were not paying upfront, give me guarantee. He took his seal, he took his walking stick, right? Those were guarantees that she took. So when it was time for them to say, oh, she was a prostitute, she has gotten pregnant, you say, the man who owns these things is the one who is responsible for the pregnancy. So lesson number 2, always have guarantees. Always have guarantees. In the world that we live in today, always have guarantees, always have receipts. She collected receipts. She collected receipts. Yes, even though Judah had went back to claim what he had given to her, she had disappeared because she knew what the plan was. She knew that Judah had plans to not allow her marry Sheila. So she said, okay, since that was your plan, I would have smacked you. Which Judah himself also confirmed that I had planned not to allow her marry my son because I was afraid that he would also die like the brothers. Lesson number 2, have guarantees. Very important. And lesson number 3 in chapter 38 is this: evidence would save you. The world that we live in today, have receipts, have evidence. It will save you. Literally, evidence will save you. When Judah heard that Tamar had gotten pregnant, his first response was bring her out and burn her alive. While they were taking her out, she said, whoever owns this walking stick, this seal, this is the person who is responsible. Those were the things that saved her. She had evidence. In the world that we live in today, have evidence. See, people can say anything against you, just have evidence. That will be the only thing that can save you. Which is the third lesson to learn from this. Evidence will save you. See, the social media world we live in today, people can come up with so many stories. They can lie about any and everything. The only thing that will save you will be the evidence that you have. Otherwise, people will believe the lies against you. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? So 3 lessons to learn from chapter 38. Number 1, the Lord still punishes evil. Number 2, have guarantees. And number 3, evidence would save you. Let's get into Genesis chapter 39. Genesis 39, we see the story of Joseph. Genesis chapter 39. Now, when Joseph was taken into Egypt by the Ishmaelite traders, he was purchased by Potiphar, an Egyptian officer. Potiphar was captain of the guard for Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. The Lord was with Joseph, so he succeeded in everything he did as he served in the house of his Egyptian master. Potiphar noticed this and realized that the Lord was with Joseph, giving him success in everything he did. This pleased Potiphar, so he soon made Joseph his personal attendant. He put him in charge of his entire household and everything he owned. From the day Joseph was put in charge of his master's household and property, the Lord began to bless Potiphar's household for Joseph's sake. All these household affairs ran smoothly, and his crops and livestock flourished. So Potiphar gave Joseph complete administrative responsibility over everything he owned. With Joseph there, he didn't worry about anything except what kind of food to eat. Joseph was a very handsome and well-built young man. And Potiphar's wife soon began to look at him lustfully. Come and sleep with me, she demanded. But Joseph refused. Look, he told her, my master trusts me with everything in his entire household. No one here has more authority than I do. He has held nothing back from me except you, because you are his wife. How could I do such wicked thing? It would be a great sin against God. She kept putting pressure on Joseph day after day, but he refused to sleep with her, and he kept out of her way as much as possible. One day, however, no one else was around when he went to do his work. She came and grabbed him by his cloak, demanding, "Come on, sleep with me." Joseph tore himself away, but he left his cloak in her hand as he ran from the house. When she saw that she was holding his cloak and had fled, she called out to her servants. Soon all the men came running. "Look," she said, "my husband brought this Hebrew slave here to make fool of us. He came into my room to rape me, but I screamed." Rape. Rape. When he heard me scream, he ran outside and got away, but he left his cloak behind with me. So she kept the cloak with her until her husband came. Then she told him her story. "That Hebrew slave you brought into our house tried to come in and fool around with me," she said. "But when I screamed, he ran outside, leaving his cloak with me." Potiphar was furious when he heard his wife's story about how Joseph treated her. So he took Joseph and threw him into the prison where the king's prisoners were held, and there he remained. But the Lord was with Joseph in the prison and showed him his faithful love. And the Lord made Joseph a favorite with the prison warden. Before long, the prison warden put Joseph in charge of all other prisoners and over everything that happened in the prison. The warden had no more worries because Joseph took care of everything. The Lord was with him and caused everything he did to succeed. Genesis chapter 39. Now, the first lesson to learn from Genesis 39 is that success is guaranteed when the Lord is with you. You see, from the very initial chapters of Genesis 39, Scripture says, "And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man." See this, success is guaranteed when the Lord is with you. It doesn't matter where they take you to. It doesn't matter who they put you under. As long as the Lord is with you, you are guaranteed success. Yes, you will do your work. You will play your part. But you are guaranteed of success eventually because the Lord is with you. This is what we saw in Joseph's life. Everywhere he went, the Lord was with him, and Joseph was a success. Everywhere he went. In Potiphar's house, he succeeded. Potiphar put everything under Joseph's care. And Potiphar's house was being blessed because of Joseph. Now you can see that this is something that has been passed down from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, now to Joseph. That people could literally tell that because of them, they are being blessed. That's why Scripture says that you are blessed to be a blessing. Anywhere you find yourself, you should recognize that because you are there, that's why that place is being blessed. Are you getting this? Because you are there, that's why the place is getting blessed. And they will have the evidence to show that it's because of you that they are being blessed. Because Joseph was not going to tell Potiphar, because of me, that's why you are blessed. No. Potiphar recognized it. He could see it. The same thing happened with Abimelech and Abraham. The same thing happened with Abimelech and Isaac. The same thing happened with Laban and Jacob. The same thing happened now with Potiphar and Joseph. The same thing again happened with Joseph and the prison warden. They could recognize that because of Joseph's presence, things were getting better. People recognize things getting better because of your presence. And people tell that because you are present, things are getting better. Lesson number 1, success is guaranteed when the Lord is with you. Lesson number 2, the sin modus operandi. Now, Potiphar's wife showed us the MO of sin, the modus operandi of sin. And how does it go? 1, it starts with invitation. Potiphar's wife invited Joseph to come and sleep with her. So the sin modus operandi, the MO, starts with invitation. So you notice that when people want to get you to do evil, they first invite you. Right? It starts with invitation. They invite you. They say, oh, just hang out with us. Just chill with us. Nothing bad. Just chill. Invitation. Then it moved from invitation to pressure. Potiphar's wife starts to put pressure on Joseph every day. That's the MO of sin. It starts with invitation. Then it goes to pressure. They keep putting pressure on you. Oh, hang out with us. Oh, chill with us. Oh, let's go to the club together. Oh, let's go do this together. They're putting pressure on you. It's the MO for sin. And then soon enough, you land in trouble. So that's the MO of sin. It starts with invitation, then they put pressure, and then you are in trouble. Look through scripture. That's how the MO of sin. That's the modus operandi of sin. It starts with invitation, it puts pressure on you, it puts you in trouble. The same thing Delilah did to Samson. Samson found himself in Delilah's house, invitation. Then Delilah started putting pressure on Samson. Tell me the secret of your strength. Put pressure the first time, put pressure the second time, put pressure the third time. By the time Samson told her the secret of his strength, Delilah shaved off Samson's hair and then called the Philistines to come and take Samson. And then Samson couldn't do anything. And the first thing they did, they plucked out his eyes. Samson was now in trouble. That is the modus operandi of sin. It starts with imitation, then it puts pressure on you, then it lands you in trouble. That's why scripture tells you to flee every appearance of evil. Because once you first accept the invitation, it's only a matter of time before you fall for the pressure. And once you fall for the pressure, you are going to land yourself in trouble. Even Joseph that fled still landed himself in trouble. How much more when he did not flee? Are you getting this? Because chances are, Potiphar's wife could have still used and dumped him. Because this was probably her style. This was her pattern. Are you getting this? And then you notice the fact that she accused him of rape. You see what's happening in the society today? It didn't start today. He accused Joseph of rape when Joseph did not even do anything. So it's not today. You know, they always say, oh, he's always a man. He's always a man. He's always a man. I'm not arguing, no. I'm not saying anything. But all I'm saying is that it was false accusation. There's one that's currently trending in Nigeria right now. False accusation again. Are you getting this? So it didn't start today. It did not start today. It has been there from time immemorial. Potiphar's wife lied and accused Joseph of rape. Joseph did not even do anything, but he was accused of rape and he was sent to prison for what he didn't do. Third lesson: good times or bad times, the Lord is with you at all times. Third lesson: good times or bad times, the Lord is with you at all times. So Joseph was in prison, but the Lord was still with Joseph. And that's why scripture tells us in the New Testament that I will never leave you nor forsake you. Right? Jesus said, lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. So good times, bad times, the Lord is with you at all times. In Potiphar's house, the Lord was with Joseph. In prison, the Lord is still with Joseph. So the Lord is not with you based on where you are. The Lord is with you wherever you are. I'll say that again. The Lord is not with you based on where you are. The Lord is with you wherever you are. So in Potiphar's house, the Lord was with Joseph. In prison, the Lord is still with Joseph. Because he has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? Okay, so let's go to Genesis chapter 40, which is the last chapter for episode 8. Are you learning something? Are you enjoying this? Right? Put in the comment. Let me know that you're watching. Let me know that you are learning. And let me know that you're having an amazing time on this series, episode 8 of Genesis. Okay, so let's move on to chapter 40, which is the last chapter for today. Now, sometime later, Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and chief baker offended the royal master. Pharaoh became angry with these two officials and put them in the prison where Joseph was, in the palace of the captain of the guard. They remained in prison for quite some time, and the captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, who looked after them. While they were in prison, Pharaoh's cupbearer and the baker each had a dream one night, and each dream had its own meaning. When Joseph saw them the next morning, he noticed that they both looked upset. Why do you look so worried today? He asked them. And they replied, "We both had dreams last night, and no one can tell us what they mean." "Interpreting dreams is God's business," Joseph replied. "Go ahead and tell me your dreams." So the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream first. "In my dream," he said, "I saw a grapevine in front of me. The vine had 3 branches that began to bud and blossom, and soon it produced clusters of ripe grapes. I was holding Pharaoh's wine cup in my hand, so I took a cluster of grapes and squeezed the juice in the cup. Then I placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand." This is what the dream means, Joseph said. The 3 branches represent 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift you up and restore you to your position as chief cupbearer. And please remember me and do me a favor when things go well for you. Mention me to Pharaoh so that he might let me out of this place. For I was kidnapped from my homeland, the land of the Hebrews, and now I am here in prison, but I did nothing to deserve it." When the chief baker saw that Joseph had given the first dream such a positive interpretation, he said to Joseph, "I had a dream too. In my dream, there were 3 baskets of white pastries stacked on my head. The top basket contained all kinds of pastries for Pharaoh, but the birds came and ate them from the basket on my head. This is what the dream means," Joseph told him. The 3 baskets represent 3 days. 3 days from now, Pharaoh will lift you up and impale your body on a pole. The birds will come and peck away at your flesh. Pharaoh's birthday came 3 days later, and he prepared a banquet for all his officials and staff. He summoned his cupbearer and chief baker to join the other officials. He then restored the chief cupbearer to his former position so he could again hand Pharaoh his cup. But Pharaoh impaled the chief baker just as Joseph had predicted when he interpreted his dream. Pharaoh's chief cupbearer, however, forgot all about Joseph and never giving him another thought. Genesis chapter 40. Now let's look at the lessons to learn from chapter 40. Lesson number 1, emotional intelligence and problem solving. I should notice this. Joseph had emotional intelligence. Now, even though the chief cupbearer and the chief baker of Pharaoh were put under his care, he noticed their countenance the morning after they had the dream. He said, "You guys are looking downcast. What's the problem?" And they said, "We had dreams and we don't know the interpretation." And Joseph told them, the interpretation of dream is God's business, right? So you should see that Joseph had emotional intelligence. He could read the room. He could understand his emotions and the emotions of others. And that's why in our world today, emotional intelligence is a big deal. Because there are so many people who lack emotional intelligence. They can't read the room. They can't read people's emotions. Joseph had emotional intelligence and Joseph had problem-solving skill. He asked them, "What's the problem?" They said they had dreams. Joseph interpreted their dreams. He solved the problem. Are you getting this? So the first lesson to learn from chapter 40 is this: emotional intelligence and problem solving. The second lesson to learn from chapter 40 is this: people can forget you, but God will remember you. Yes, the one who truly remembers you is God. See, Joseph literally told the chief cupbearer, "When you get out of here, put a good word to Pharaoh for me. Remember me. Tell Pharaoh that I'm innocent. I was kidnapped from my father's house and I'm in prison wrongfully. Remember me." But guess what? The chief cupbearer forgot about Joseph. What lesson should you learn from this? People can and people will forget about you. No matter the good you have done to them, they'll forget about you. The only person who will never forget about you is God. Literally, God is the only one who will never forget you. He says, "Can a mother forsake her suckling child?" And he says, "Even if she does, I, the Lord, will never forsake you. I will never abandon you." That's why I always love Jeremiah 29:11, the Message translation, where it says, "I know what I'm doing. I have it all planned out. I will take care of you. I will not abandon you. I will give you the future that you hope for." Literally, The butler forgot about Joseph, but God did not forget about Joseph. You see, sometimes when you have so much expectations in people that, oh, because you have helped them, they will return the favor. It doesn't always work like that. It doesn't. It's only God that can put your thoughts in the hearts of people for them to remember you. On their own, they will forget you. That's what happened to the chief butler. He forgot about Joseph. Lesson number 2, people forget you, but God remembers you. And the only one who truly remembers you is God. God is the only one who truly remembers you. He said you are craving in the palm of my hands. I will never forget you. I'll never forget you. And the third lesson to learn from this is that what works for another may not work for you. You could see that the chief baker saw that the interpretation of the dream was good for the chief butler. And then he said, okay, this is my dream too. And by the time he finished, Joseph said, so the 3 baskets you saw represent 3 days. And in 3 days, Pharaoh will ensure that you are killed. Get this, life is per head. What is working for one person may not work for you. In fact, you may try it and get into trouble. Because the reason why the chief baker was eager to not tell his dream was because he saw that the interpretation for the chief butler was good. So he was already feeling that, oh, his own will be as good as that or even better. And to his greatest surprise, his interpretation was negative. That is to let you know that what works for one person may not work for another. What seems to be working for Mr. A may not work for Mr. B. Life is bespoke. Are you getting this? Life is bespoke. What is working for one may not work for another. So don't look at other people's experiences to judge your life. No. You have no idea their work with God. You have no idea what God is taking them through. So don't use them as the benchmark. Don't say, oh, because it's working for them, it work for you. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. This was what happened to the chief baker. He felt that, oh, because the interpretation of the dream for the chief butler was good, his own interpretation would be good. But the interpretation was not the same. Are you getting this? But as a side note, you could see that Joseph had gone from just having dreams to interpreting dreams. Take note, Joseph only had 2 dreams about his own life, and then he went on to interpret 3 other dreams. That's why I tell people this all the time. Your gift is not for you. Joseph had dreams. Nobody could interpret his dream for him. Even him could not interpret his dream for himself. Yet he was interpreting the baker's dream, the butler's dream. And down the line, he interpreted Pharaoh's dream. So your dream is not for you. Your gift is not for you. Just the same way no tree eats its own fruit. Same way your gift and your dream is not for you. It's not for you. It's not for you. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? So the 3 lessons to learn from Genesis chapter 14. Number 1, have emotional intelligence and problem-solving skill. That's what Joseph had. For the butler and the baker, he had emotional intelligence to notice their countenance, their disposition, and he solved their problem. Number 2, people can forget you. Only God will remember you. The chief butler forgot about Joseph for 2 years. Forgot about Joseph. But God did not forget about Joseph. Now, the reason why I believe he forgot about Joseph is because God did not want to put any man in the way to take glory for Joseph's coming out of prison. And besides, if the butler had even recommended Joseph to Pharaoh, what position do you think Joseph would have gotten when he came out of prison? Junior butler. Yes, it would have been junior butler. Because there's no way Pharaoh would put him above the butler. He would have been under the butler. But God had a plan. Remember, I told you earlier, the strategy of God. He didn't want to put anybody in the way. Only him was going to take Joseph out of prison by his own way at his own time. And you could see at this point, Joseph was beginning to trust in the arm of flesh. And that's why scripture tells us that the arm of flesh will fail. All through, Joseph had not asked anybody for help until this time. Until this time. Is asking for help bad? No. Ask the Lord for help. God knows who to send to help you. Are you getting this? Don't ask man for help. Ask God for help. God knows how to send man to help you. At this point, Joseph was trying to ask man for help. And God said, okay, for this one you have done, 2 more years for you. You chief for another 2 years. So you can put your focus back on me and me alone. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? The third lesson, what works for one may not work for another. Joseph interpreted the dream positively for the butler, or yet interpreted the dream negatively for the baker. What works for one may not work for another. This, my friends, this is Genesis chapter 40. So this is where we call draw the curtain close for episode 8 of Genesis, the series. And I hope that you've enjoyed this. So if you have any questions, quickly ask your questions in the comments, and then we'll take the questions before we call it a wrap for today. If you have any questions on chapter 36, chapter 37, chapter 38, chapter 39, or chapter 40, ask your question, and then we'll gladly take it before we call it a wrap for today. This is episode 8 on the series Genesis, right? 2 more episodes to go, episode 9 and episode 10, and we'll wrap up the whole series of Genesis. It has been an amazing conversation so far from January to this time. I've been loving it. I know that we'll probably end this series at the first week of March, but it has been fun so far, right? It has been fun so far. Yes, we finished this series by the first week of March. That's when we finish this series. First week of March, we finish this series. So taking it from January through to March, an amazing conversation we've had so far. So let's take 1 or 2 questions. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are grateful. Yeah, the Lord's with me at all times. Fantastic. You're learning a lot. People can forget you, but God will surely remember you. So through. People can forget you. No doubt, they can. But God is the one who will never forget you, who will never forsake you. Right? Yeah, he will give me my desired future. So through, he will. Jeremiah 29:11, the Message translation. He will give you your desired future. Anointing differs. Yes, yes, yes. Learning a lot. Thank you so much for your feedback. Thank you so much for your comments. Okay, so let's take 1 question, 1 or 2 questions, and then we'll call it a wrap for today. If you have any question, feel free to ask the question in the comments, or you can leave the question, ask the comment when the live is over, and we'll come back and respond in the comment to your question. So if you have no questions, it's okay. We'll call it a wrap for today. So guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We are super, super grateful to have you join us. This is episode 8 on the series Genesis. 2 more episodes to go, and we'll call the series to a close. And I hope that you're learning something from this series. We've been looking at the book of Genesis, Genesis chapter 1, and we're currently at Genesis chapter 40. 10 more chapters to go, 2 more episodes to go, and then this series will be over. I want to say a very big thank you to all of you who stayed from the beginning to the end. Thank you so very much. And I look forward to seeing your feedback and your comments in the comment section. Remember, there's always more on your good side of life. And that's why we encourage you that you leave good behind so that you can upgrade. And remember, do well to share this link with your friends, your families, your loved ones, and even your enemies, because you may just be helping them to become a better version of themselves as they leave good behind to upgrade. So guys, thank you so much for joining. We'll see you again this same time, this same channel next week, where we continue with episode 9 on the series Genesis. Until then, remain blessed. Thank you for watching. God bless you.